Yo.
Cool. All right, so today I'm here with Antonio Jackson, long time, I guess I would call you mentor and friend of mine. Met you when I was in high school, back in like 2005 in the Perspective Gents Club here in Portland, Oregon. Can you maybe tell the audience and everyone seeing this a little bit about yourself and what made you want to help out with that program?
Yeah. Mervance, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. I appreciate seeing your journey as you've grown up into a young man. But so I'm born and raised in Portland, Oregon. Grew up in Southeast Portland, went to David Douglas High School, and then went on to Portland State University, played football, basketball there. Got a business degree in business management, human resource management. Um, and then I've just been around. I've been in town. I've worked for local companies. I worked for out of college. I worked at Daimler Trucks North America, and had the opportunity to do a lot of travel around the world in the procurement department there. And then after leaving Daimler, I went on to Banfield Pet Hospital. It's a subsidiary of Mars Corporation, the candy bar company. So I've had a lot of global experience working in the global environment, but my passion has always been giving back and inspiring and motivating young people. So that's when I had the opportunity to meet you as a young buck in high school. You were one of those that stood out, always inquisitive, sharp kid. I know you went to Jesuit, and kids that go to Jesuit are pretty sharp. So you had a good head on your shoulders, and you set a good example for your peers. So it's been a pleasure being able to continue to stay in contact with you, continue to see your growth and maturity. But I guess it did start with gents. We would meet on every Monday night, and it was something. Growing up, I didn't have any brothers. I didn't have. I had a lot of cousins. I have a lot of cousins, but I didn't have any brothers. And what I saw with that program was a number of young Black men getting together, doing positive things, and I wanted to be a part of it because although Gents was around when I was in high school, I didn't know about it. Growing up in Southeast Portland, I wasn't aware. I mean, so I wish I would have had the opportunity to be involved in an organization like that. So when I learned about it, I wanted to really get involved because I wanted to have an impact. I wanted to be impacted by all of the young men, and it definitely it changed my life, and it changed my outlook on things, and all of you became my little brothers, you know. So and you still inspire me. So the program, um, it was something that, like I said, I wish I would have been able to have the opportunity to get involved with because it was something like being a part of a fraternity, you know. And as you know, being in a fraternity now, there's a lot of similarities that you see from gents and being in the frat. So that was one part that I really enjoyed because when I was in college, I had the opportunity to pledge Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, and
Had to throw that in
yeah, yes, sir. You know it. That's why you see the backgrounds on everything matches. So, but with that, I love being able to pretty much do something that was similar to getting young people involved in like Greek fraternities and things. So it was just that you guys were younger.
exactly. Yeah.
Like,
And seeing that you're a Kappa, I know that background ain't for Kappa. That polo, what is?
yeah. So our logo is science, technology, engineering, and math. and building blocks to success. So I'm the co-founder and executive director of this organization. We founded it in 2013, but in actuality, we started it right after Gents kind of dissolved as a bridge program for young people to get into the fields of career fields of science, technology, engineering, and math.
Nice. What made you want to go that route, having like just ended or just finished up a program like the Gents? What made you go that route rather than the whole like boyhood to manhood training route?
Well, I love that whole rites of passage program, but we with Gents we only work with the boys, and I wanted to impact boys and girls with the program, and I wanted to do it in a way that was similar to Gents in that it wasn't about sports. It was about building young people up and really focusing on the academic side of things and
Gotcha.
side of things. That really enticed me. And then my son at the time, I remember, I don't know if you remember, I used to always bring him to all our meetings when he was young. Whenever we would meet with you guys, and I wanted to, he was really involved in building and creativity and he loved Legos and stuff like that. So I wanted to get him into a program that was doing some of that. But there weren't many programs in Portland that really catered towards Black and brown kids. So instead of trying to, so we created our own. We created our own, and we were able to get more and more kids of color involved. And over the years, we've been impacting hundreds of kids by using this platform now of science, technology, engineering, math, and in an environment where young people feel accepted, they feel comfortable, kind of nerding out, geeking out on building and construction and design and all that stuff. So I think it's been pretty good.
That's dope. And so taking it back to the Black man side of things, because we're both Black men from Portland, Oregon. And I don't know how it was for you growing up in your generation, but for me, I always heard just so much negativity about Black men in Portland. Like Black men in Portland, trifling, no jobs, whatever, don't do anything in the community and whatnot. But my entire experience that I saw with my own eyes was different than what I heard. I've met people like you, my friend. I have tons of friends my age from Portland who are young Black men doing great things in the world for their communities, for their families, for themselves. So just you being involved in a program like Gents, seeing us grow up, you growing up yourself into the person that you've become, and then seeing all the other kids in your program now, what do you think the disconnect is from the ones who are trying or doing great things, which we know a lot of, both me and you, and the perception that people have, even in our own community? I've heard this from other Black folks. So what do you think the disconnect is when it comes to that?
Well, like your experience, I've only seen positive black folks. I mean, yeah, there's those that are struggling and in different areas and things, but I've always had positive role models of Black men and women, from my family to my friends to a lot of people I call moms and pops and uncles and aunties and things like that. So, but I think it it is what you make it, in that a lot of people, if you're around the negativity, then that kind of produces negativity. But if you're around the positiveness, then you're producing positivity. So I try to continue to surround myself around people that are going to uplift me, that are going to encourage me, that are doing good things, because I think iron sharpens iron, and when we can be around people that are doing positive things, then that helps us to kind of be held accountable to do the things. So I think, unfortunately, Black folks get a bad rap, and uh, we don't highlight enough all the good things that people are doing. Like with the gents, you saw a number of Black men, professionals that were in all kind of areas, that were leaders in the community, that were leading organizations, businesses. Um, so that's all you saw. And I think if we continue to surround our young people around those positive images, then they have a higher self-worth of themselves. And they say, you know what, I want to also set that same uh, example for someone else. And I think that was lost. And that's unfortunately what was lost when Gents dissolved, is that some of our young people in our community, they stop seeing some of those examples on a regular basis, where you can come together as Black men that are doing positive things and giving back to our community. There's a number of organizations that still are doing things like that, but we definitely lost that when Gents was dissolved.
For sure. I mean, I've somewhat recently have gotten back in contact with people who I met on heritage tours at the schools we visited, and they remembered us. So
Oh,
just
cool.
to
Yeah.
show how much of an impact we made on people even outside of the Portland community. Like this woman, I forgot her name, but I found some old cards and like pamphlets from the schools, and she was
Mm-hmm.
from LSU, Nia Blair from LSU. I reached out to her, and she was like, "Oh, I remember y'all. Y'all were sharp, this and that." And I'm just like,
Still working there?
"You made a what's that?"
You was still working there?
No, she's I think in Houston now, I want to say.
Oh, okay.
Where, but it's just amazing how people remember there's a group of Black boys from Portland, Oregon, and it's
Mhm.
2021. This happened back in like 07, 08.
Yeah,
That just
yeah.
shows you the kind of impact we had, though, just the way we dressed, presented ourselves and whatnot too. So just thank you again for being a part of that.
Mhm.
Going back to like, the example that you just spoke about too, given that you weren't in gents yourself, and I didn't hear you say you were in any programs growing up other than sports. What do you
Mhm.
think kept you on the straight and narrow path? Was it like parents? Was it the coaches? Was it a combination of both? Like just your own intuition?
Yeah, it was a combination of both. I mean, my parents have been married for 40 plus years, going on 45 years, and just having that example right there was powerful. But many of my aunts and uncles have been the same, been married, having that strong foundation of family. But in addition, it takes a village. So I had a lot of people in my village that, from coaches to cousins to family members, that filled in those gaps. That when I started to stray, because as a young kid, you start kind of feeling yourself a little bit, and thinking that you bigger than what you are. And a lot of those people humbled me and helped me to realize that I needed to continue to work hard, continue to stay out of trouble, and continue to do the right things. And that really helped me to get through some times that weren't always the easiest. So I think it was just a combination of my parents, my family, my coaches, and then on top of that, I was just, to be honest, my dad's a big guy, and I was scared of him. I was scared for the longest with my tail. So I wasn't trying to get in trouble. And then he told me, he said, if you go to jail, I'm not bailing you out. You're gonna stay in there. So, I was like, hey, I'm not putting myself in a situation where I'm getting in trouble because I couldn't do that. So it was a number of those things, but really I started to learn at a young age that I can either learn the hard lesson and go through life going through the trials and tribulations uh, myself, or I can learn from others that have gone through those trials and tribulations and learn from their mistakes, or learn from the things that they did right and try to follow in those footsteps. So that mindset really kept me out of trouble because I was always learning from other people and not going through the same pitfalls that other people had gone through.
Nice. It's funny you say that because I can't remember if it was like sixth grade or seventh grade at this point, but Mr. Goins, my middle school science teacher, was like, he said that smarts is when you can just make decisions based on your own experiences, but wisdom is when you can make decisions based on experiences of others.
Mm-hmm.
So it was
Mm-hmm.
always, and that always stuck with me because that's why I asked so many questions, or partially why, but I'm always asking like, how did you do this? Like, what did you go through? What was the worst part of that? Like, even now I'm getting into a point where I'm asking elderly people, what was your favorite decade? Why? Was it your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, 60s, 70s? And I just like to pick their brains and whatnot. So it's really dope that you say that. And just going back to you said your parents have been married almost 45 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane. That's obviously longer than I've been alive. Can you maybe talk to a little bit about what you learned from that when it comes to marriage and maybe your own union that you have yourself? Is because I know like a lot of people in my generation aren't getting married. The numbers have dropped off, but I know there's value in it. I know there's importance in it. There's the yin and yang element. So can you just maybe speak to a little bit of just how your parents' marriage and love for one another influenced you growing up, and then some things that help you and your wife now stay together and get through hard times and whatnot?
Yeah.
The
Well,
benefit too. I mean, I know women
yeah.
inspire
I
reasons to
mean,
make you a better.
marriage is a major commitment, and what I saw from the example of my parents going through the ups and downs of life, uh, of raising kids, you know, what I saw that it wasn't easy,
Mhm.
because there was a lot of times where it was tough. It
Yeah.
was tough, and being married um, in my early 20s. I got married in my early 20s, and unfortunately went through a divorce, but had two beautiful kids through that marriage. And really, my ex-wife and I, we still have a great relationship. I think that's so important for kids to be able to see their parents being able to be cordial and work together. Yeah, we had our own differences, but being able um, to set that example that we can still hang out and talk. Actually my ex-wife and my wife now, they're good friends. And a lot of people may look at that as it's kind of weird or whatever, but it's a blessing. Definitely a blessing to have a good relationship with uh, my ex spouse. But right now, from my parents and the example that they set of sticking through the hard times and really celebrating the good times. I try to do that as much as possible with my wife. She's been a blessing to me. We met actually through some mutual friends, and she was she's originally from California, and she moved here when she was 13. But I mean, she's been here since then, and but she'll always say she's from California. She don't say she's from
Okay.
Oregon, but she does represent the generals. She's a grand general, so she's always repping that. But really, she's been my rock. She's been the one that helps me, because when I made the decision to say, you know what, I'm gonna leave my job and go full time and start this nonprofit organization, she was my number one cheerleader, saying, you know what, we got this. And I think that's so important with marriages, is that your spouse has to be the one who you can count on, the one that you can a shoulder to cry on, the one that is going to be there. And even more recently, I just was talking to you about buying this vehicle, and it was great
Online.
for my wife to talk to about this purchase of this vehicle, and her to give me some wisdom on it, where it made me think like, did I make the right decision? Because unfortunately I was hard headed and didn't include her in the decision. And after the fact, I'm thinking, I wish I would have included her, little bit more because I would have been thinking a different way. But she kind of helped me through that process. And that's what it's about. It's not that marriage is perfect, but it's that you have someone that's gonna understands that we can grow together, that we can work through issues, and that we're here to support each other. And that's really what she's been to me. She's been a blessing and been God sent. So, but I just definitely encourage, young people, if you considering getting married, you young man, you considering getting married, make sure it's that one though. You don't have to settle. You don't have to try to jump into anything, but that one's out there because I found it, and I know now my wife is my life partner, and I'm excited for the many years that we're going to spend together. We have a young son right now. He's 4 years old, and seeing her as a mother really brings me a lot of joy because having two older kids and then now having a younger one, I see how hard it is, but how much when you do have kids and when you're growing something together, how powerful that is as well. So, if you got one, then make sure you keep her because a good one is hard to find.
Oh, definitely. Excuse me. And with that said, is there anything that you think that maybe was really important to you when trying to find that one for you that maybe isn't important looking back, or things that you didn't even think of before that now you're like, dang, I really needed that. I'm glad she does. I never even thought of that. Anything?
Oh man, I
Maybe a little advice for the young dude, maybe early.
yeah. You might have these lists of I wanted someone who's gonna look like this or do this, have this job, or do all these things. At the end of the day, that stuff it really doesn't matter because the job or you can lose a job or you can lose the looks, but at the end of the day, it comes down to the love that you have for that person. No matter if they white, black, whatever, or what anybody else says. If you love that person, that's gonna carry you through a lot of the things that the trials in life that you're gonna experience. But just advice I would say is one, stay committed to your wife, but then two, also trust them and support them because you can't always be trying to only receive. You have to give that, and giving that love to your wife is so important because when it's reciprocated, it's a great thing and it empowers you. And I think that's what my wife does all the time is that she always encourages me and supports me, and that helps me to kind of get through some of the tough days. Building an organization from the ground up has been hard. I mean, I work in the corporate environment for the past 16 years, but when you're working for someone, it's already built.
Yeah.
When you're building it yourself, there are some long days and some hard days. And my wife has been my rock through those times. And she's been that one to say, keep on pushing, keep on going. And that's when you know that you got a good one because not everybody is going to stick with you when times are tough. So, I guess, my wife has just always been there in that way.
That's bomb to hear. And I'm sure if she sees this, she'll be happy to hear it too. Well, I guess in closing, I'm not going to keep you too much longer, but in closing, if you could go back to I want you to answer two questions. If you could go back to age 20 and tell yourself just one piece of advice, a major advice, or even a small, something you wish you would have known then, what would it be? And also, if you can go back to age 30 and tell that 30-year-old Antonio some advice, what would it be?
Sheesh. Oh man. My 20s, I was just young and dumb, and
like we all were.
Had a son in my early 20s, and when I was still in college, and although I was trying to do the right things, like being involved with gents and setting an example, trying to set a positive example for you guys. I was just learning. I was learning how to be an adult. I was learning how to navigate life. And I really wish I would have listened to more people. I really wish I would have sought out more people, just like what you're doing, seeking out uh, uh, wise counsel. I think in the Bible it says seek wise counsel. And that's so important because um, there's no playbook really of this is how you do this or this is how you do that. You kind of are living life and trying to figure it out. But when you surround yourself around positive people, people that can feed good things into you, then that's going to help you not to go down some of those paths that where you look back and say, I wish I wouldn't have done that. So I guess in my 20s, I wish I would have listened more. I wish I would have not been as hard headed, and I wish I would have. Uh, I wouldn't say surround myself because I always had good people in my life, but I wish I would have just not been as hard headed. Now in my 30s, I was at that time, my early 30s, and because I just turned 40 last year, and and
So you're talking to 30-year-old Antonio right now.
man, it went by so fast. It went by so fast that I just try to enjoy every minute of it because I poured a lot of my time into my kids, and during that time, my son now being in college, I poured a lot of time into them, and that gave me life because I was able to see them grow and be a part of their lives and work through some of the hard times of, um, of the middle school age. That was tough. Being a young adult and having middle school age kids.
Media and stuff too now. So.
Oh my, that was tough.
Yeah.
So I guess I would tell myself, not take things so seriously either, because when you're trying to be a father to teenagers, sometimes it becomes like you're clashing with them all the time. You don't. They always think that you're against them. And my number one thing, I've always been for my kids and supported them, but it didn't always turn out that way. It didn't always look that way because I was trying to take everything serious, and I had to be serious about this and that. And so, I had to find a balance of kind of lightening up a little bit and allowing my kids to really grow and allow them to go through things in their lives so that they can grow into young adults as they are now, and really help to prepare them. And I think we helped to prepare them, but there were a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of gray hairs, and but at the end of the day,
you still got a hairline. Shoot.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, those times they were tough, but they were. I look at all those experiences as a blessing because I've had the opportunity to be a mentor to a number of young people, a few boys that I've kind of taken under my wing as my own sons, and that's really been the biggest blessing. And that's one thing I would say, just as some advice, is be a part of some of the growth of someone else in their journey, because it won't only positively help them, it'll positively help you as well.
Even if they become a Q and not a Kappa.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But just speaking of that, I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud that you made the decision to join an organization like Omega Psi-Phi, a great organization that is doing positive things, and there's a lot of men of Omega Psi-Phi that are great dudes, and you're one of them. I know Dariel, another great dude that was a gent as well, and getting married next week. So I'm proud of you guys and to see your growth and maturity. But not everybody can be a Kappa man. And that's okay.
This guy, I knew.
Okay. Still love y'all and still care for y'all, but not everybody can be this. Nah, but yeah. At the end of the day, though, it's all love with organizations. I'm trying to encourage any young man that are going to college that to pursue learning more about Black Greek organizations, because that brotherhood, that support,
Definitely.
just when you're in school but out of school, you're adulting and you're trying to live life. And I call on my brothers all the time because I've had close relationships with them, but not just my fraternity brothers, but brothers in different organizations that I know are doing positive things as well.
Definitely. And if someone wants to get involved with your organization with their kids or donate or however they want to get involved, what can they do and how can they do it?
Yeah, boy, we love when people show an interest in wanting to be involved. Our organization, once again, is Building Blocks to Success. We're a STEM-focused organization for youth ages 4 to 15. We provide STEM pathways for youth to get in exposure to these career fields. If you're interested in getting your kids involved, you can visit our website, www.bb2s.org. There's information on there. Please check us out on our social media, Facebook page, Instagram. Actually, some of those other social medias I don't use too much. My wife is like, people think you're gonna, if you're not posting stuff on there, that people think you're doing some stalking on them or something. I don't know. So, but Facebook we use a lot of, and so you can find a lot of information of the different activities that we're doing, how we're exposing kids to the sciences and engineering and things like that. But
the qualifications, is it income based or anything, or?
No, really, our goal is to provide high quality STEM education for young people, but we're intentional in providing access to Black and brown kids because I think if we're not intentional in doing it, then it won't happen. And we'll get grouped into, a number of different groups, which is, sometimes unfortunate because I think we get put to the wayside. So we got to be intentional in saying, we're creating these opportunities for Black and brown kids so that they see that there's a positive future for them. That doesn't mean that they have to be an athlete or an entertainer. And really, that's why I've gotten into this, because I wanted to show kids that, although being an athlete or entertainer is great, and if you make it, you're one of those less than 1% that go professional in those areas. But if you dedicate your time in being an engineer or being a programmer or a doctor or any of those technical fields, you can do it. So trying to just inspire our community to show them that there's more out there than some of the negativity that unfortunately is around them. Because if your time is not occupied doing something positive, it's easy to get pulled into some of those negative things that unfortunately create a cycle and pass to the wrong ways. So trying to keep kids seeing positive outlooks.
Most definitely, man. We got to speak up because the negative attention, they're loud, but there's more activity out here, but we're quiet a lot of the time. So I think we just got to get our message out there. And I love what you're doing with this. I didn't even really know about it until I saw you at the store that day, and now that I'm glad about it, and I'm going to spread the word, and I hope that everyone who sees this video can check you guys out because you're doing some great things. So
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I want to say thank you. And it's crazy because when I was a gent, I thought y'all were like so much older than us. Like you said you were in your 20s now. I'm like, you were in your 20s. I'm thinking you were like 40 back then. Because when you were 15, you don't know. Like, you just think this dude's a old dude. So yeah, it's just hilarious to just grow older myself and just see you guys, and um, it's just still got the hairline, still got the waves. So things will never change. But
Well,
um,
another thing, I was going to go back to when you said going back to your 30s or 20s.
mhm,
Um, Definitely encourage you, man. You're doing some big things. You're having a positive impact on the community. Continue to use this platform to inspire and motivate people that may be looking for that type of energy. I mean, we're all, when I watch some of your videos and I get inspired to keep on doing what I'm doing, because I know that although you grew up into the man that you are because of what you did, I had a little piece of that, and I had
definitely.
just a little impact, and that was important. And to be able to see you and be able to hear the wonderful things that you're doing, keep on doing that, and use your platform to inspire other people. Take advantage of opportunities to build wealth, buy a house. Don't waste your money. Do those things uh, that are uplifting your community and setting a positive example.
Most definitely. I appreciate that. Well, I'm gonna do a way better job of staying in touch. I promise you that. And I just want to say thank you again for participating in this and sharing some of your story and positivity with the world. So thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right.
All right, take care.
Holla.